The night air on KL-9 were cold and smelled of metal and smoke. New Seoul, the main city on the colony world, never slept. Lights from tall buildings shone in many colors, and ships flew low over the streets. In one small corner of the city, far from a bright center, lived a young Drakari mother named Jian. Jian was tall, with dark green scales that caught the light like wet leaves. Her wings were folded tight against her back because the streets were narrow. In her arms, wrapped in a thick warm cloak, she held her baby dragon. The little one was very small, no bigger than a human child's pet cat. His name was Taeyong, but he was too weak to make any sound when she called it. Taeyong had not eaten for many days. His beautiful emerald scales looked dry and dull. They fell off when Jian touched them gently. His eyes stayed half-closed, and his breathing was slow and soft. Every day he grew thinner. Jian could feel his small ribs when she held him close. The Drakari people were proud. They had lived on many worlds for thousands of years. Their bodies were strong, their fire hot, and their wings wide. Drakari healers were wise. They knew old songs and special plants that helped sick dragons from the time they hatched. Jian had taken Taeyong to every healer in the Drakari part of the city. One old healer gave him red fire crystals to lick. Another made him drink dark bloodroot tea. A third sang long songs over him while burning sweet smoke. Nothing worked. Taeyong turned his head away from every food. The healers shook their heads and said quiet words about fate. Jian's mate, the father of Taeyong, had died 1 year before. He was a strong warrior who fought raiders that came to steal from the colony. He never came home. Now Jian was alone. She had no family left in New Seoul. Her heart felt heavy every time she looked at her baby growing weaker. Drakari mothers were taught to be strong. They were taught never to ask for help from other kinds of people, especially humans. Many Drakari still remembered old stories of war and mistrust. They called humans soft because they had no scales or fire. They said humans lived too short a time to understand real strength. But Jian watched her baby fade day by day. Pride could not feed him. Old ways could not save him. One night, when Taeyong cried with a voice so small it was almost nothing, Jian made a choice. She would go to the human side of the city. She would find the doctor that some people whispered about, a quiet man who helped many kinds of creatures. She waited until the streets were less busy. The 2 moons of KL-9 hung low in the sky. Jian wrapped Taeyong in her warmest cloak. She pulled a hood over her horn so fewer eyes would notice her. Drakari were easy to spot, tall, with tails and wings, but she walked fast and stayed in shadows. The human district was different. The buildings were lower and made of smooth white stone. The air smelled of cooked rice and sweetbread instead of smoke and hot metal. Soft white lights lit the clinic doors. Music came from open windows, light and happy. Jian's heart beat fast. Her claws clicked on the clean pavement. She felt shame for coming here, but more than shame she felt fear for her child. She stopped in front of a small clinic. A simple sign said Kim Minute-ho, Doctor, all species welcome. The door was glass, and warm light came from inside. She stood there a long time. A few humans passed by and looked at her with wide eyes but said nothing. Jian took a deep breath. The air tasted strange. No fire smoke, only clean and cool. She pressed the entry button with one careful claw. The door opened with a soft sound. Inside, the room was warm and quiet. The walls were pale blue. There were chairs for many kinds of bodies, some low for humans, some high for taller species. A man sat behind a desk. He had short black hair and kind eyes. He wore a white coat. When he looked up and saw Jian, he did not show surprise. He only stood and gave a small bow. Good evening, he said in clear Galactic Standard. His voice was calm and low. How can I help you? Jian stepped inside. The door closed behind her. She pulled back the cloak just enough to show the small face of Taeyong. The baby's eyes were closed now. His breathing was very shallow. My son, she said. Her voice shook even though she tried to keep it strong. He is dying. Our healers cannot help. Please, look at him. Dr. Minute-ho Kim looked at the small dragon for a long moment. His face stayed quiet, but his eyes grew serious. He pointed to a large soft table in the next room. Please bring him here. I will do everything I can. Jian walked forward. Her tail dragged a little on the floor. She felt the weight of old pride and new hope fighting inside her. She laid Taeyong gently on the table. The cloak fell away. The light showed how thin and sick he was. Dr. Minute-Ho washed his hands carefully. He moved slowly so he would not scare her. Then he began to work. He listened to the baby's chest with a small tool. He shone a soft light into the tiny mouth and eyes. He took one drop of blood with a needle no bigger than a hair. All the time, Jian stood close. Her wings shook a little. She watched every move the human made. Part of her wanted to snatch her baby and fly away. Part of her wanted to beg on her knees. After a long time, Dr. Minute-Ho looked up. He spoke softly. Your son is very weak, but he is not lost yet. I need to run more tests. It will take a little time. You can stay here if you want. There is warm tea. Jian nodded. She could not speak. She sat on the floor near the table because the chairs were too small. She held Taeyong's tiny claw in her hand. The human doctor worked late into the night. Outside, the city lights kept shining, but inside the small clinic, everything felt still and full of waiting. The clinic was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. Dr. Minute-Ho Kim worked carefully under bright lights. Jian sat on the floor beside the exam table, her tail curled around her feet. She watched every move the human made. Taeyong lay still on the soft pad, his tiny chest rising and falling in weak breaths. Minute-Ho took more scans. He used a small wand that glowed blue as it moved over the baby dragon's body. Pictures appeared on a screen beside the table. Lines and colors showed the inside of Taeyong's small form. Minute-Ho studied them for a long time. His face stayed calm, but his eyes moved quickly from one image to the next. Jian felt her claws dig into her palms. She wanted to ask questions, but her throat felt tight. Drakari were taught to stay silent and strong in front of strangers. Still, fear made her voice come out small. Is he? Will he live? Minute-Ho turned to her. His eyes were kind, not cold like some humans she had met. He spoke slowly so she could understand every word. Your son is not sick from a virus or poison. His body is having trouble using food. Drakari babies sometimes have this problem. It is rare, but I have read about it. The blood carries too much iron for his young stomach. His body fights a food instead of taking strength from it. That is why he stops eating. Jian felt a cold wave run down her back. All the healers had said different things. Some said bad spirits. Some said weak blood from her side of the family. None had spoken of iron or stomachs the way this human did. Can you fix it? She asked. Minute-Ho nodded once. I believe so. I can make special milk for him. It will have less iron and more easy energy. It will be like the milk human babies drink, but changed to fit Drakari needs. I have done this before for other mixed cases. It should help him start eating again. Jian looked down at Taeyong. His scales looked dry and gray in the bright light. She thought of all the proud Drakari mothers who would call her weak for trusting a human. She thought of her mate who died believing in old ways. Then she looked at her baby's thin body and felt her heart break open. Do it, she said. Please. Minute-Ho gave a small smile. It was not happy or proud, just quiet and sure. He moved to a clean counter across the room. He opened cabinets and took out bottles and powders. Machines whirred softly as he mixed things together. He worked fast but never rushed. Every step looked careful and exact. While he worked, he spoke to Jian in a low voice. He told her about other babies he had helped. A small avian child from the Sky Islands who could not breathe the colony air. A furry infant from the forest worlds whose fur fell out from wrong food. He never bragged. He only said what he had learned and what had worked. Jian listened. For the first time in weeks, she felt a tiny light of hope inside her chest. The human's voice was steady. His hands did not shake. He knew things her people's healers did not. After almost an hour, Minute-Ho came back with a warm bottle. The liquid inside was pale gold and smelled sweet and milky. He handed it to Jian. It is ready. You should feed him. He knows your touch and your smell. That will help more than anything. Jian took the bottle with shaking claws. She sat on the edge of the exam table and lifted Taeyong gently into her arms. His head rested against her chest. He was so light now, like holding an empty shell. She brought the bottle to his small mouth. At first, he did not move. His lips stayed closed. Jian felt tears start in her eyes. She whispered old Drakari words of love and strength into his ear. Then Taeyong sniffed. His tiny nose moved. He opened his mouth just a little. The nipple touched his tongue. Suddenly, his small claws grabbed at the bottle. He began to drink. It was slow at first, then faster. His throat moved as he swallowed again and again. Soft sound came from him, small happy noises Jian had not heard in weeks. Color came back to his face. The dull gray scales caught the light and turned a soft green again. His eyes opened wider. He looked up at his mother and kept drinking. Jian could not stop the tears now. They ran down her scaled cheeks and fell onto the cloak. She held her son close and let him drink until the bottle was empty. Minute Ho stood back and watched. He did not smile big, but his eyes looked warm. When Taeyong finally let go of the bottle and gave a small burp, the doctor spoke softly. Good. Very good. He will need more soon, and every few hours for many days. You can stay here tonight if you wish. There is a quiet room with heat lamps like your people use. Jian looked at him. For the first time, she really saw the human. He was shorter than her, with no wings or claws or fire. But in that moment, he looked stronger than any Drakari warrior she had known. Thank you, she said. Her voice was rough with feeling. Thank you for saving my son. Minute Ho shook his head. He is not saved yet, but he has started the road back. You brought him here. That took more courage than most people have. Outside the window, the city lights still glowed. Inside the small clinic, a tiny dragon slept full and warm for the first time in weeks. His mother held him close, and a quiet human doctor began to prepare the next bottle. The night felt different now. Hope had come into the room like soft light, and none of them wanted it to leave. The next morning, light came through the clinic windows and painted soft lines on the floor. Jian woke slowly. She had slept on a wide mat in the warm recovery room, with Taeyong curled against her chest. For the first time in many weeks, her baby had slept all night without weak cries. His small belly rose and fell in steady breaths. Dr. Minute Ho Kim entered quietly. He carried a fresh bottle of the pale gold formula. Steam rose gently from it. He placed it on a low table and checked the heat lamps above the mat. They glowed soft red, just like the warming stone Drakari mothers used at home. Good morning, he said in his calm voice. How is he? Jian sat up carefully. Her wings stretched a little, stiff from the night on the floor. She looked down at Taeyong. His scales had more color now. They shone a gentle green instead of dull gray. He slept well, she said. No crying. I think he is stronger. Minute Ho smiled a small smile and nodded. That is good. He will need another feeding soon. Then we will check his weight and blood again. Taeyong stirred at the sound of voices. His eyes opened wide. He made a small happy sound and reached tiny claws toward the bottle. Jian laughed, a soft, surprised sound she had not made in a long time. She picked up the bottle and let him drink. He drank faster than the night before. His tail wagged in little circles. When the bottle was empty, he burped and then tried to play. He rolled onto his back and batted at Jian's fingers with his paws. She felt tears come again, but this time they were happy ones. Minute Ho watched and took notes on a small screen. His energy is coming back quickly. That is a very good sign. Jian looked around the recovery room. It was simple but clean. There was a soft bed for her, a heat lamp for Taeyong, and a small sink. A window showed the human district waking up. People walking with cups of hot drink, delivery carts moving quietly, children running to school. I cannot go home yet, Jian said quietly. The elders would ask questions. They would want to take him to our healers again. Minute Ho thought for a moment. You can stay here as long as you need. I have an empty room at the back. It is quiet. You can come and go through the side door. No one will bother you. Jian bowed her head. Among Drakari, that was a sign of deep thanks. You give us too much. You give me a chance to help, Minute Ho answered. That is enough. Days began to pass in a gentle rhythm. Every morning, Minute Ho prepared fresh formula. Jian fed Taeyong 4 or 5 times a day. Between feedings, the baby slept or played. His body filled out. His scales grew bright and smooth. His wings, once thin and folded, began to stretch and flap when he was excited. Jian left the clinic only at night, when fewer eyes were on the streets. She bought simple food for herself from human markets: rice, vegetables, mild fish. The tastes were strange to her, but they were easy on her tired body. Sometimes she brought back small toys she saw in windows: softballs, bright strings, things that made Taeyong chase and pounce. One afternoon, Taeyong took his first real steps across the recovery room floor. He wobbled, fell, then stood again. Jian clapped her claws together and cheered. Minute-Ho heard the noise and came in. He watched the baby dragon toddle toward his mother, tail high. "He is growing fast now," Minute-Ho said. "We can start adding soft meat to the formula soon. His stomach is ready." Jian nodded. She felt proud and a little afraid at the same time. Her son was coming back to life right before her eyes. Word began to travel slowly through the city. A few Drakari who worked in mixed areas heard whispers. A hatchling thought Loss was living in the human clinic. He was eating human-made milk and growing strong. Some Drakari shook their heads in anger. Others listened with quiet interest. One evening, an older Drakari female named Hyrin came to the side door. She was a neighbor from Jian's own building. Her scales were silver with age. She carried a small basket of fire fruits, traditional gifts for new mothers. "I heard," Hyrin said simply. "May I see the child?" Jian let her in. Hyrin looked at Taeyong playing on the mat. His scales shone like new leaves. He ran to Jian and hid behind her leg, peeking out with bright eyes. Hyrin's stern face softened. "He looks well, very well." Jian waited for angry words, but they did not come. "I will tell no one," Hyrin said, "but others will find out soon. Be careful." After Hyrin left, Jian sat with Taeyong in her lap. She felt the weight of her choice. She had broken old rules to save her son. Now the secret was growing. Minute-Ho came in later with new test results. "His blood is almost normal now. In one more week, we can try normal Drakari food again, slowly." Jian looked up at him. "You have given him life. I do not know how to repay that." Minute-Ho sat on a low stool. "Watch him grow strong. That will be payment." Outside, the city lights came on one by one. Inside the small clinic, a mother held her healthy baby dragon close. He made soft, happy sounds and chased his own tail in circles. The days of fear felt far away, but Jian knew they were not gone forever. Change was coming, quiet but sure, and she and her son were at its center. Weeks turned into a full month. Taeyong was no longer a weak hatchling. He ran across the recovery room floor on strong legs. His wings flapped hard enough to lift him a few inches off the ground before he landed with a happy thud. His scales shone bright emerald in the light, and his eyes sparkled with life. Jian watched him every day with wonder. She had started to smile again. The fear that had lived in her chest for so long was almost gone. Dr. Minute-Ho Kim still checked Taeyong often. He weighed him, took small drops of blood, and ran quick scans. Every time, the news was good. "He is growing faster than most Drakari babies," Minute-Ho said one morning. "Look at his wing bones. They are thicker, and his claws are harder than normal for his age." Jian nodded. She had noticed the same things. Taeyong could already scratch marks into the metal table leg when he played. That was something only older hatchlings could do. One quiet afternoon, something new happened. Taeyong was chasing a softball across the floor. He slipped and bumped his nose on the wall. A small puff of smoke came from his mouth. Then a tiny blue-white flame flickered out, bright and hot. It touched the wall paint and left a black mark. Jian jumped up in surprise. Drakari babies did not breathe fire until they were many years old. It was a sign of full growth. She ran to her son and checked his mouth. He was not hurt. He looked up at her and made a happy chirp. Another small flame danced on his tongue, then went away. Minute-Ho heard the noise and came quickly. He saw the black mark on the wall and the excited baby. He knelt down and looked into Taeyong's mouth with a small light. "This is very early," he said. "Much too early. But the color, it is not normal red or orange. It is blue-white. That means very hot fire." Jian felt a mix of pride and worry. "Is it bad?" Minute-Ho shook his head. "Not bad. Different. Stronger. I need to run more tests." He took Taeyong to the exam room. He used machines to look deep inside the baby's body. Pictures showed the flame sac in the chest. In normal Drakari babies, it was small and empty at this age. In Taeyong, it was already big and full. The fire inside burned hotter than any Drakari fire Minute-Ho had seen. Days passed, and more strange things happened. Taeyong's wings grew wider each week. The membranes between the bones became thick and strong. When he flapped hard, wind moved papers on the desk. His claws grew sharp and dark, almost black. He could hang from the ceiling bar and hold his whole weight without tiring. Most surprising was his mind. Taeyong started to copy sounds. First he copied Jian's soft hums. Then he copied words Minute-Ho said during checks. Up, Minute-Ho would say when he lifted the baby to the scale. Up. Taeyong answered in a high, clear voice. Jian laughed in shock the first time. Drakari children learned to roar and hiss long before they tried speech. Human words were hard for Drakari tongues. But Taeyong said them easily. Good boy, Minute-Ho said with a smile. Good boy. Taeyong repeated, tail wagging fast. Minute-Ho began to study old records late at night. He looked for stories of Drakari babies who grew this way. He found almost nothing. Then he searched deeper, in very old file from the first years when humans and Drakari met. He found hidden notes. Long ago, some humans and Drakari had children together. Those children were rare and often kept secret. They were stronger and smarter than normal Drakari. But the special genes slept most of the time. They only woke if the baby got certain food at the right young age. Minute-Ho read that the human milk foods had special parts, trace metals and vitamins, that Drakari food did not have in the same way. Those parts could turn on the old hidden genes. He sat back and looked at Taeyong playing on the floor. The baby was stacking soft blocks higher than his head. His blue-white flames came out in tiny puffs when he got excited, but he already learned to control them a little. This formula saved his life, Minute-Ho said to himself, and it woke something ancient inside him. He called Jian into the office. She came holding Taeyong on her hip. The baby waved at Minute-Ho and said, Hello, Doc. Minute-Ho smiled at the greeting. Then he grew serious. I know why he is changing, he said. Long ago, our kinds mixed blood. The strength from both sides sleeps in many Drakari. Your son's body needed special food to live. That same food woke the sleeping strength. Jian listened carefully. Her wings folded tight against her back. So he is part human. In a small way, yes, the best parts of both. Stronger body, sharper mind, hotter fire. He is something new. Jian looked at her son. Taeyong smiled at her with bright eyes. A tiny blue flame danced on his nose, then vanished. He is perfect, she said softly. More weeks went by. Taeyong grew to the size of a large dog. He could fly short distances across the room. His voice became clearer. He asked simple questions. Why sky blue? He asked one day, looking out the window. Minute-Ho answered with simple words about light and air. Taeyong listened and nodded. Word finally reached the Drakari elders. Whispers turned into open talk. A hatchling in the human clinic was doing things no baby should do. Some elders felt anger. Some felt fear. A few felt wonder. One evening, 3 elders came to the clinic door. They were tall and old, with silver and gray scales. Their wings were wide and scarred from many years. They knocked hard. Jian heard the sound and felt her heart beat fast. She picked up Taeyong and held him close. Minute-Ho went to the door and opened it. We come for the child, the lead elder said. His voice was deep and hard. He belongs with his people. Human ways have changed him too much. Minute-Ho stayed calm. He is healthy because of care here. Come in and see. The elders stepped inside. They saw Taeyong in Jian's arms. He looked at them with curious eyes. Then he opened his mouth and let a bright blue-white flame rise up, hot and steady. The air grew warm. The elders stepped back in shock. He controls fire already, one whispered. Taeyong flapped his wings once and rose into the air. He flew in a small circle around his mother, then landed softly. The elders looked at each other. They had never seen a baby do such things. Jian stood tall. My son lives because of this human. He grows strong because of this human. If you take him from the one who saved him. The lead elder opened his mouth to speak, but Taeyong spoke first. No go, he said clearly. Dr. Minute friend. The elders stood silent. The room felt full of new feelings. Surprise, respect, maybe even hope. Outside, night fell over New Soul. Inside the small clinic, an old world and a new one stood face to face. No one knew yet what would happen next, but everyone felt that something big had already begun. The three elders stood in the clinic doorway, their silver scales catching the warm light from inside. Their wings were half open, a sign of power and warning among Drakari. The lead elder, a tall male named Kyungsu, stared at Taeyong with hard eyes. The baby dragon hovered in the air for a moment longer, then landed softly beside his mother. Jian stepped forward. She placed herself between the elders and her son. Her own wings opened wide, showing she would fight if needed. Her tail lashed once, sharp and quick. "He stays here," she said. Her voice was low but strong. "This human saved his life. No one will take him from the place that made him well." Kyungsu's eyes narrowed. A hatchling belongs with his people. Human food and human ways have changed him. We must study him. We must teach him proper Drakari paths. Dr. Minute Kim stood quietly to the side. He did not speak yet. He watched and waited. He knew Drakari ways. Pride came first, word second. Taeyong peeked out from behind Jian's leg. He looked at the big elders with wide, curious eyes. Then he walked forward on his own. His small claws clicked on the floor. He stopped in front of Kyungsu and looked up. The elder stared down. Taeyong opened his mouth. A bright blue-white flame rose up, steady and hot. It did not touch anyone, but the air grew warm. Papers on a nearby table curled at the edges from the heat. Kyungsu took one step back. The other elders did the same. No hatchling in old Drakari history had ever made fire this strong, this early. Taeyong closed his mouth. The flame vanished. Then he spoke in clear galactic standard, his young voice high and sure. "Dr. Minute is family. He gave me milk when I was dying. He made me strong. I will not leave him." The room went very quiet. Even the city sounds outside seemed far away. The elders looked at each other. Their faces showed shock, then something softer. Kyungsu knelt down slowly. His old knees creaked. He brought his face closer to Taeyong's. "You speak well, little one," he said. His deep voice was gentler now. "And your fire is great. Greater than mine was at your age." Taeyong's tail wagged. He stepped closer and touched the elder's hand with one small claw. Jian watched, ready to pull her son back if needed. But Kyungsu only placed his large hand gently on Taeyong's head. "We came to take you," the elder said, "but perhaps we were wrong. Perhaps the old ways are not the only ways." The other elders nodded slowly. One of them, a female named Sejin, spoke next. "We will tell the council what we have seen. A hatchling who flies, who speaks, who commands blue fire, saved by a human doctor. This is new. This is important." Minute finally spoke. His voice was calm and respectful. "I only did what any doctor would do. I saw a sick child and helped. The formula woke old strength in him, strength from both our kinds, long ago." Kyungsu stood again. He looked at Minute for a long moment. "You have our thanks, human," he said. "Few of your kind would open their door to a Drakari mother in the night. Fewer still would keep her secret and care for her child." He turned to Jian. "You showed great courage coming here. Greater courage staying. You are a true mother." Jian's wings folded again. She bowed her head low. The elders left quietly. No more hard words. No demands. Only promises to speak to the council with care. Days passed. Word spread through the Drakari enclave, but not as anger. Mothers whispered about the hatchling who lived because of human help. Young warriors spoke of the blue-white fire with wonder. Old ones remembered forgotten stories of mixed blood from long ago. Soon, other Drakari came to the clinic, not to take Taeyong, but to see him. They brought small gifts, shiny stones, smoked meat, soft hides. They watched him fly short circles around the room. They listened to him speak simple sentences in both Drakari and human tongues. Minute taught Taeyong new words each day. Jian taught him old Drakari songs. The baby learned fast. His mind was sharp like a human child's, his body strong like a Drakari warrior's. One evening, The council sent a message. They wished to meet Tai Yong and his mother, and the human doctor. The meeting would be in the great hall of the Drakari enclave. Jian felt fear again, but Minute-Ho placed a hand on her arm. "We will go together," he said. "All three of us." The great hall was large and warm with fire pits. Hundreds of Drakari filled the seats, elders, warriors, mothers, young ones. When Jian walked in holding Tai Yong's claw and Minute-Ho beside her, every eye turned. Silence fell. Tai Yong did not hide. He walked forward with his mother. His wings were half open, his head high. When they reached the center, he looked at the council table. Kyungsu stood. "This is the hatchling we spoke of. This is Tai Yong, son of Jian. And this human is Dr. Minute-Ho Kim, who brought him back from death." A low murmur moved through the crowd. Tai Yong let go of his mother's hand. He stepped into the open space. Then he spread his wings wide, flapped once, and rose into the air. He flew a full circle around the hall, higher than any baby should. Blue-white flames traced gentle lines behind him, bright but harmless. The crowd gasped. Some stood, some cheered. He landed softly in front of the council. He bowed his small head. "I am Tai Yong," he said clearly. "I am Drakari. I am also part human. Both sides made me strong. Both sides are my family." Kyungsu smiled, an old, proud smile. "Welcome, Tai Yong," he said. "You are the first of a new kind. We will learn from you. We will protect you, and we will honor the human who helped bring you to us." The crowd roared in agreement. Cheers filled the hall. Wings beat the air. Years later, stories of Tai Yong spread far beyond KL9. He grew into a great dragon, tall and strong, with wings that carried him between stars. His blue-white fire became legend. His wisdom helped end old fights between species. Other Drakari children began to show the same hidden strength when given careful new foods. A new line began, the Azure Drakari. They were faster, smarter, kinder. They built bridges between worlds. And always, in every telling of the story, people spoke of the brave mother who walked through the night to a human door. They spoke of the quiet doctor who opened it. Humanity, once thought weak and short-lived, showed the galaxy something greater, that knowledge and care could wake ancient power, that one small act of help could change everything. In New Seoul, the clinic still stood. Dr. Minute-Ho Kim still worked there, helping all who came. And sometimes a great azure dragon would land outside. He would walk in on two legs, fold his wings, and hug the old human who had saved him long ago. They would sit and talk. The dragon would call him uncle. The doctor would smile and call him son. The galaxy was richer because of them.